So you don't have to reinvent the wheel, all right, when it comes to making YouTube videos. However, you do want to make a few modifications. To be honest, this went over my head for the longest time because I'm someone who takes pride in wanting to be the best when it comes to something. But the caveat is, when it comes to making YouTube videos, I definitely was not the best. I'm not going to be the first, but what I do have is my difference. In today's video, let's talk about how you can come off as a pro by creating binge-worthy videos using your Canon EOS M50. Whether you have a Canon EOS M50 or you're thinking about getting one, I want to share with you a few little modifications you can make so that way you can come off looking like a pro when you literally just got started. Let's get started with the lens. Now, the Canon EOS M50 comes with the kit lens, and it's the 15 to 45 millimeter kit lens. Now, this is a really great start, and to be honest, this is what I relied heavily on for the past 2 years. So I literally just got a new lens, but I was using the kit lens for a very long time. And if I can be real with you, I do believe that I just allowed myself to feel comfortable enough to keep creating better content at the time. But eventually, when you get to a certain point where you're creating content, you're gonna have to invest more into your equipment so that way you can really have that professional quality. Now, the kit lens is super great for beginners, and honestly, if you're just getting started, then I want you to focus on your quantity, okay? So that way you can build up your momentum. That way you know how to stay consistent and build that discipline, because it takes that to grow your channel. But after that, once you have your momentum, okay, go ahead and invest in a better lens to add that certain je ne sais quoi, right, when it comes to making content. And so the lens I'm currently filming on is the Canon 50 millimeter lens. This retails at about $99 to like $115, depending on where you get it. But I love this lens. I have fallen in love with this lens. Like, every time I use it now, I'm like, ooh, this the one. Why did it take me so long? Now, before you go out and buy this lens, let me just share with you, when it comes to using this particular lens, this is not something that's going to naturally match and fit on your Canon EOS M50. So what you'll also need to get is what's called an EF mount, and you can find this on Amazon. I'll link everything below for you guys, but you want to use this EF mount in conjunction with your 50 millimeter lens, because the way that the EOS M50 is set up, the 50 millimeter lens won't fit naturally. So the EF mount is going to be your sweet spot, so that way you can connect everything together and you can have that blurry background that you guys see, kind of like my situation going on, where I'm clearly in focus, but my background is not in focus because the camera is focused on me, my lens is focused on me. Going back to after you build your momentum, it's going to be good to invest in your equipment because you want to be able to give a better visual representation. So like I said, I'll link everything below, but yeah, I'm now using the 50 millimeter lens, and when I tell you I'm not using anything else for the time being, I mean that. Now, the second point I want to make when it comes to creating the binge-worthy videos is that you want to also focus on your camera settings. Now, I was in denial for a long time because I used to always film in auto. I used to be honestly so scared and kind of intimidated to really learn my camera. Y'all, talk about imposter syndrome, okay? But once I got past myself and just got out of my head, I really started doing my research and became a student again to really figure out what are the best settings when it comes to filming videos, right? So how can I really stand out when it comes to shooting and making sure everything looks good and crisp and polished and all that good stuff? Because I didn't know starting out. I always filmed on auto, and honestly it showed because I just really didn't know what I was doing. However, okay, the hidden gem when it comes to shooting better videos is adjusting your settings from auto to manual. Super easy to do in your settings panel on your EOS M50. All you have to do is switch it from auto to manual, and then there's also going to be a few more adjustments you have to make in order for your video to come off the way that you like them. But shooting in manual really helps out, and it gives you more of that control. And also, let's face it, when we film, it's not going to always be the same time, okay, each day, each week. And some days may look brighter than others. You may have it raining outside, it might be super sunny. The manual settings give you so much control, and that's why I say, like, that's another gem that I wanted to make sure you guys knew, because that way you know what it's like to make better videos. All it takes is a few changes in your camera settings and you good to go. Now, when it comes to your manual settings, I also just want to suggest that you just spend a couple of minutes each day really getting to know your camera. It doesn't take much to make these changes, but it does take you to make these changes. So all you want to do is honestly spend like maybe 5 to 10 minutes making these changes, playing around with your settings, because again, we all have different setups. I don't have that many windows in my apartment, so in order for me to feel like it's bright, I need to adjust, you know, the setting that controls the brightness, or just little things I can do do because my setup is different from other creators. So I say that to say you have the control when you film in manual mode, and I want you guys to be more encouraged about that than intimidated, because honestly it's all up to you and what you want your setup to look like. Okay, so the last point I want to mention when it comes to creating the binge-worthy videos is that your audio needs to be on point. For the longest time I struggled with really understanding this process for some reason. I don't know why it took me so long to get it, but you know what, here we are. If you guys can see, I have a microphone that's clipped to my shirt, and I also have the receiver clipped to the camera, so that way it picks up the frequency from my voice to the camera. Now this is really important if you're going to get the 50mm lens, because you have to sit a little bit farther from the camera, so that distance that's in between you is a pretty long distance. So your audio needs to be so good. Believe it or not, audio is the second best feature when it comes to filming videos, okay? And I can already tell because I've improved my audio, just making those small adjustments, and it's already helped me gain more views on my videos. The fun part about your audio is that you can choose whatever microphone that fits your budget and your aesthetic needs, okay? So don't think you have to spend hundreds of dollars for audio. I personally am using a Rode dupe I got off Amazon, and the Rode brand, if you don't know, it's a pretty pricey brand, but honestly you pay for what you get. The quality is great. But for what I'm using right now, I was not worried about going and buy a microphone that costs $300 when these were about $40, okay? So at a fraction of the cost, I still have really great audio. But another thing to do to really help your audio using the Canon EOS M50 is to also change your audio settings. Now you can do this also by going into your settings panel, and when it comes to your audio, you can change it from auto to manual. That is going to be super helpful, and a pro tip if you're just getting started and you already want to come off so much better than looking like a beginner. With your lens, your camera settings, and your audio being important factors to really make better videos, the other important factor is for you to believe that you can do all of this. I am not a professional. If I didn't say this before, I'm not a professional, but I was willing to learn. I taught myself, okay, YouTube University, and I practice. And that's really all it takes to create the videos that you see maybe professional filmmakers or photographers make. All it takes are a few minor adjustments, and you are on your way or closer to making the binge-worthy video, so that way your viewers are going to be fulfilled, because people have a visual appetite. And like I said, the momentum is so important to stay consistent and just foster that. But on the flip side, that's not where it stops. You have to still invest in your equipment, in your audio, in your lights, in your setup, so that way you can have the combination package, okay? And their visual appetites are being fulfilled because your content is just so much better. All right, good people, that's it for today's video when it comes to how to create binge-worthy videos using the Canon EOS M50. If you guys like this video, then please pass the love by liking and commenting, and of course subscribe if you're liking the vibe. But I'm gonna catch you in my next video. Bye y'all.